Do you have a Power BI interview coming up shortly? Then this is the video for you. In this video, we are going to cover the top 50 interview questions covering the topics right from the basics of Power BI to data concepts, data modeling, tools, functions, DAX and DAX functions, and data visualization. This video is ideal for your preparation just the day before your interview when you are short of time for it. Go over this video and attend the interview with confidence. The video is split using chapters for easy navigation to your interested section. Okay, we have got a lot to cover, so let's get started. As always, let us start off with a case study so that you can grasp the concepts easily. Adventure Works Cycles, the company on which the Adventure Works databases are based, is a large multinational manufacturing company. The company manufactures and sells metal and composite bicycles to North American, European, and Asian commercial markets. The four primary product categories of this company are bikes, accessories, clothing, and components. So we will be using this data set to go through Power BI questions and answers in detail. Let us start with Chapter 1, which covers the basics of Power BI. What is business intelligence? The term business intelligence (BI) refers to the technologies, software, and processes that collect raw business data and convert it into something insightful and decision-driven recommendations. So in the example above, we are extracting data from multiple sources like databases, cloud platforms, sensor data, various other reports, and so on, and then feed it into the Power BI, that's the business intelligence tool, to get some visual insights. In a nutshell, business intelligence provides actionable insights and help businesses make data-backed and tactical decisions for improving customer base while generating more value and profits. What is Power BI and what makes it a great tool? Power BI is a business intelligent cloud-based data reporting and visualization tool. In a nutshell, it helps users to generate reports online. There are many important notable features of Power BI, some of them are below. It allows the user to transform data into effective visuals and thereby share those visuals with peers or stakeholders for the business understanding. It allows users to explore and analyze data from all the sources. The best part is that user can generate and display the same visualizations in multiple devices that are compatible with Power BI. What are the different versions of Power BI? Power BI currently comes in three versions: Microsoft Power BI Desktop, Microsoft Power BI Pro, and Microsoft Power BI Premium. Microsoft Power BI Desktop. This is the most basic and free version of Power BI. This is for all the users who wish to get some data-backed business insights from the data. For example, this version allows single users to create and publish dashboards and reports for their own use. Microsoft Power BI Pro. This is the full version of Power BI. It allows unlimited reporting, sharing, and viewing of reports. For example, in this version, the data, the reports, and the dashboards can be shared with other users who also have Power BI Pro license. In addition to this, this version has improved data refreshes. Microsoft Power BI Premium. This version provides a license for all the users in an organization. It provides larger storage, allows analysts to work with bigger data sets, and also allows free user sharing access. What are the available views in Power BI? Power BI is one of the best business intelligence tools available in the market these days to help the analysts make best use of their data. Power BI includes three views. These views help the analysts build their own visualizations, access their data quickly, and work with multiple charts at the same time to see how they relate to one another. As observed in this slide, the three views are Report, Data, and Model views. Report view. It is one at the top of the list, the default view in Power BI. It starts with blank square space on the left side along with a list of tools and functions on the right. It is the space where the analyst can build their visualizations, which covers bar graphs, pie charts, line graphs, and so on. Next is the data view. This option is in the middle of the list in the default view in Power BI. In this view, one can examine smaller pieces of data close-up, hence can help you gain further insights. This view lays out the data in grid format. By looking at this view, analysts can maximize their data knowledge and make most well-informed decisions based on data. Third is the model view. It is on the navigation bar. It helps you see the relationships between the data models. This is also called as relationship view. As you see, it allows analysts to see the relationships between their data models, which is a process to analyze and define all the different data business collects and produces, basically the relationship between those bits of data. That wraps up chapter 1. And in chapter 2, let us look at 3 questions on data concept used in Power BI. Question number 5. What is data normalization? Normalization is the process of organizing the tables and columns in a relational database to reduce redundancy and preserve data integrity. In the example shown, Table 1 in the data set can be mapped to Table 2 based on city ID, the shared key, and similarly, Table 2 can be mapped to Table 3 where state ID is the shared key. By establishing this relationship, an analyst would be able to track the states or cities linked to the state ID and city ID respectively in the subsequent tables instead of having every info in a master table, which would eventually make it very messy and difficult to understand. Hence, that is why normalization is so important. Data normalization is very useful and is primarily used to eliminate redundant data, to decrease the table sizes and improve processing speed and efficiency, minimize errors and anomalies from data modifications like inserting, updating or deleting records, simplify queries and structure the database for meaningful analysis. Question number 6. What are the most common data shaping techniques in Power BI? The most common data shaping techniques are removing columns and rows, grouping and splitting columns, and applying sort order. Once Power Query or Power Editor is open, analysts can perform multiple data transformations on the loaded data. This includes adding new columns and rows, marked in red box, deleting the columns and rows, marked in red box, sorting the columns, marked in green box, grouping and splitting the columns, marked in orange box. Question number 7. Where is data stored in Power BI? When data is ingested into Power BI, it is basically stored in fact and dimension tables. Data tables contain numbers or values, typically at granular level, with ID or key columns that can be used to create table relationships. Dimension tables provide descriptive and often text-based attributes about each dimension in table. So in the example above, the table 1 is data table as it stores the quantitative values for analysis, while table 2 is dimension table as it stores attributes and dimensions that describe objects stored in table 1. Like here, what does product key and product subcategory key stand for in data table is given in dimension table. Product key 1 and subcategory key 2 means road bikes. Moving on to question 3, let us go over questions 8 to 24 on tools and functions used in Power BI. Question number 8. What is Query Editor or Power Query? Power Query is an ETL tool, extract, transformation and load tool. It can help shape, transform and clean data with the help of intuitive interfaces without any need to code. Power Editor helps in giving the data the desired transformation and shape as per analyst requirements. So in the example above, in step 1, click on Home. Then in step 2, Transform Data option, and this opens up the Query Editor screen. In a nutshell, it helps in adding or removing data to shape it according to the requirements, appending and joining data from several sources, importing data from various sources like files, databases, social media data, big data, and so on. Question number 9. How do you create a group or aggregate in Power BI? Grouping helps analysts to clearly view, analyze, and explore data and trends in the visuals. The steps followed for grouping are as follows. Step 1. Select the product key column in the table, the basis on which grouping needs to be done so that total quantity can be calculated. Step 2. Click on Group by functionality, and once the dialog box opens, select the product key column from the drop-down. Write down the name of the newly calculated column. Like in the example above, it is total quantity. Select the operation as sum and the column on which this operation needs to be done. Like in this example, it is order quantity. Step 3. The column total quantity will be added to the table grouped based on product key. In the screenshot above, the product ID 350 has been ordered multiple times by different customers, and now analyst wants to transform this table and see an aggregated result at product ID level. This is summarization of the order quantities by unique product ID, and the total quantity for the product key 350 is 31. Question number 10. What is pivoting and unpivoting data in Power BI? Pivoting is a way to describe the process of turning distinct row values into columns. Unpivoting is a way of turning columns into rows. Imagine that the table is on hinge. Pivoting is like rotating it from a vertical to a horizontal layout, and unpivoting is like rotating it from horizontal to vertical. Question number 11. What are different types of data connectors in Power BI? The term data connector refers to a process that allows data to be transferred from one database to another. It is a pathway used by a user organization's systems to access relevant data. Power BI connectors enable user organization to connect to the Power BI system securely. There are many different types of data connectors. A few are Excel, SharePoint, Oracle database, MySQL database, and so on. So, in a nutshell, in this current data-driven world, organizations have shifted from a single source to heterogeneous sources of data. Data connectors help the user organization combine all data sources in an integrated workspace. The home ribbon on the desktop must be selected, which displays the kinds of data available on Get Data menu. Question number 12. What are text-specific tools in Power BI? Power BI includes a set of text functions based on library of string functions in Excel, but which have been modified to work with tables and columns in tabular models. There are many important notable text-specific tool features of Power BI like split column, format, and extract. These functions allow to transform the text as needed. For example, if we have name as John Doe's in lowercase, an analyst wishes to convert it into uppercase, then go to format and select the function uppercase, and the output would be John Doe's in uppercase. Also, these text-specific tools cover many functionalities like split column, format, and extract, which are being covered in detail further. Question number 13. What does split column function do in Power BI? In Power Query, a column of text can be split into multiple columns using this functionality of split column. Let us take an example. Step 1. Select the product name column in the table, the basis on which splitting needs to be done. Step 2. Click on split column functionality and then select by delimiter, and once the dialog box opens, select the desired options as per the business requirement. as here it is selected as each occurrence of the delimiter. Step 3. The columns product name 1, product name 2 and product name 3 will be added to the table split based on delimiter hyphen. Thereby, when the analyst applies split column function, then it creates multiple columns based on the delimiter as done in the above example. Similarly, as shown in the screenshot, there are multiple options that can be used as the basis to split the column like by number of characters, by positions, by lowercase to uppercase and so on. Question number 14. What does extract function do in Power BI? The extract function in transform tab primarily extracts the characters or text from the column. It could be achieved within the same column or in the new one as per the business requirement. Step 1. Fill the first name column in the table from which extraction of characters need to be done. Step 2. Click on extract functionality and then select first characters, and once the dialog box opens, fill the count as per the business requirement. Here it is filled as 2. Step 3. The column first name will reflect only first 2 characters from the first name based on the condition given as count 2 in the previous step. Also for your information, when an analyst applies extract function, then using it with add column functionality creates a new column with the extracted characters, and if applied onto the same column as done in the example above, then it makes the changes to the column itself. Question number 15. Where is format option in Power BI? What all does it do? The format option is under transform tab in Power BI, and it can be used to implement multiple format options which are related to text in the dataset. It has got multiple options as shown in this slide, lowercase, uppercase and so on. In the example above, the first name is in uppercase, and by applying the functionality of lowercase under format option, it gets converted to lowercase. This is how other functionalities can also be implemented as per the business requirements and needs. Question number 16. What are date and time specific tools in Power BI? The date and time dimension or calendar dimension is one of the most common table in a reporting data model. There are many functionalities in Power BI which can be used to do multiple translations and manipulations. In the above scenario, select Power Query Editor, click on Add Column and then under Date, select Month Only, and thus a new column with header Month would be added to the table. Similarly, if you have Date and Time column, that's the order date, together like 25th October 1995 2 p.m., then you can have separate columns for date and time by applying date only and then time only on the order date column. Question number 17. What are numeric specific tools in Power BI? Numeric specific tools are the ones which can be used to perform various types of quantitative computations on the dataset. As the name suggests, numeric specific tools are the ones which are used to perform addition, multiplication and so on the data. For example, if analyst wants to know the unit sales of a product, then division operator will be used, wherein total number of units will be divided by total revenue generated. The various numeric specific tools are statistics, which can be used to apply various statistical functions like standard deviation, which give an insight about the spread of the data points in a dataset. Median, which gives the median value of the column selected, or average, which is the average value of the column selected in the dataset. Next one, standard. This primarily covers basic mathematical operations like add, multiply, subtract, divide and so on. Next one is scientific. This functionality is used to calculate absolute value, that is the distance from 0 without considering the direction, square root, exponent all the operations that can be applied on the numerical values of the column. Next is trigonometry. This is used to apply various trigonometrical functions on the data, which are sine, cosine, tangent, and so on. Question number 18. What is merging queries in Power BI? Merging queries functionality in Power BI allows analysts to join tables based on a common column. It is VLOOKUP in Excel. Step 1. Select Merge Queries under the Home ribbon. Step 2. Select the tables along with the type of join that needs to be applied. Once the dialog box opens, the message in the end with the green tick would show the number of rows matched in both the tables. The next screen would show the two merged tables selected in the previous step. In the example shown, we are merging the AdventureWorks Sales 2017 table with AdventureWorks Products table, which share a common product key column. Merging adds columns to the existing table. Analysts must merge the tables if there are any such business requirements. In general, it is always better to keep the tables separate and define relationships between them. Question number 19. What is appending queries in Power BI? Appending queries allow analysts to combine or stack tables that share the exact same column structure and data types. Step 1. Select Append Queries under the Home ribbon. Step 2. Select the tables that need to be appended once the dialog box opens. The next screen would show the appended tables selected in the previous step. Appending functionalities in Power BI adds rows to an existing table. In the example above, the two tables got appended as they share common schema. The structure is same for both the tables. Question number 20. What is data source settings in Power BI? The data source settings in Query Editor allows analysts to manage data connections and permissions. This option is in the Home tab under Power Query Editor. In the screenshot, we can see that there are number of connections with CSV files and an Excel file. After getting the list of sources under Data Source setting, the path of the CSV file, if needed, can be changed by clicking on Change Source button. Question number 21. How are Power BI query refresh settings configured? By default, all the queries in the model will refresh when the refresh command is used from the Home tab. Refresh functionality is supported in Power BI as and when you import datasets externally. It can be done manually by using Refresh Now option, or one can also set up using Schedule Refresh. It is recommended to exclude queries that don't change often, like lookups or static data tables. From Query Editor, one can check or uncheck Include in Report Refresh to exclude or include individual queries from the refresh. Question number 22. What is indexing, or how can index column be added in Power BI? Index column consists a list of sequential values that can be used to identify each unique row in a table, typically starting from 0 or 1. You can add an index using Select Index Column under the Add Column ribbon. The next screen would show the index column being added to the table selected in the dataset. The columns created by indexing are used to create unique IDs that can be used to form relationships between tables. In Power BI, it by default starts with 0, but there are options where it can be changed to 1 as well. Question number 23. What is conditional columns in Power BI? Conditional columns allow analysts to define new fields based on logical rules and conditions, if or then statements. Conditional column is achieved by applying the desired logic and conditions as per the client requirements. For example, here the operator is greater than or equal to is applied on the value 35. If the price is above 35, the product is tagged as high end. If the price is below 35, the product is tagged as low end. Question number 24. What is filter flow in Power BI? The filter flow in Power BI determines the direction of filtering to be utilized in a calculation for a two-column relationship. In filter functionality, an analyst can select specific fields or values within fields and view only the information related to that. In the example shown above, the filter functionality filters out both sales and returns data using the territory key field from territory lookup table. Elaborating it further, the two data tables, sales data and returns data, are connected to territory lookup table. The filter directions shown as arrows in each relationship by default will point from the one side of the relationship lookups to many side, that is data, which means sales territory key is the primary key in territory lookup table while it is the foreign key in returns and sales data table. When analyst filters a table, that filter context is passed along to all related downstream tables following the direction of the arrow. Here in the example above, the upstream table is territory lookup table while downstream tables are sales and returns data tables. Filters cannot flow upstream against the direction of the arrow. It always flows downstream, in the case above, from territory lookup table to sales and returns tables. That wraps up chapter 3. In the next chapter, let us look at 6 questions relating to data modeling and table relationships. Question number 25. What is data model in Power BI? Data models are visual representations of an enterprise's data elements and the connections between them. Any data model, as given above, basically displays relationship among database tables in the schema. So data models are visual representations which help to define and structure data in the context of relevant business processes. Data model supports the development of effective information systems. In the example given above, the first representation does not show any relationship between the data tables. Hence, it is not a data model, while the second representation shows the relationship and hence it can be tagged as a data model. Question number 26. How to create table relationships manually in Power BI? Manual relationships are created by clicking and dragging the column for which the analyst wants to create a relationship from one table onto the column of another table. Table relationships can be created manually as described below. Step 1. Select the model view out of the 3 views present under the home ribbon. Step 2. Click and drag to connect the primary and foreign keys within the tables in the relationship pane. Step 3. Once done, an analyst would see a relationship arrow line between the 2 tables. In the example above, customer key is the primary key in AW customer lookup table and foreign key in AW sales table. Now the relationships have been built on these 2 tables, hence all the customer details who are purchasing products can be tracked back from AW customer lookup table. Question number 27. How to create table relationships automatically? Power BI Desktop comes with a feature called Auto Detect Relationships. When an analyst imports more than 2 tables in the data model, Power BI tries to create a relationship between the tables automatically. Table relationships can be created automatically as described below. Step 1. Select the model view out of the 3 views present under Home ribbon and then on Manage Relationships. Step 2. Click on Auto Detect once the dialog box opens and reflect the relationships between tables. Step 3. It shows the various relationships between the various tables in the data set given. In the above example, the relationship is detected between the tables AW customer lookup and AW sales. AW product lookup and AW sales, AW product lookup and AW product subcategory, AW product category and AW product subcategory. Question number 28. How to edit table relationships in Power BI. In Edit Table Relationship, analysts can view how to change an existing relationship, how to change a relationship to active or inactive, and the cardinality of the current relationship. This is also where analysts can change the cross-filter direction. Primarily, editing tools allow analysts to activate or deactivate relationships, view cardinality, and modify cross-filter direction. Manage Relationships dialog box allows analysts to add, edit, or delete table relationships. Step 1. Select the model view out of the three views present under the Home ribbon and then click on Manage Relationships. Step 2. Select the relationship that needs to be edited in the Relationship pane. Step 3. Click on Edit button and make the desired changes. Question number 29. What is relationships cardinality one-to-many in Power BI? Cardinality of the relationship one-to-many refers to having unique instance per value for the joining field between two tables. Cardinality refers to the uniqueness of values in a column. In the example shown above, it is one-to-many cardinality, one instance of each primary key but potentially many instances of each foreign key. As there is only one instance of each product key in the products table, it is tagged as 1 since each row contains attributes of a single product, that is name, SKU, description, retail price, and so on. There are many instances of each product key in the sales data table. It is tagged as star since there are multiple sales associated with each product. Question number 30. What is relationship cardinality many-to-many in Power BI? Cardinality of the relationship many-to-many refers to having multiple instances per value for the joining field between two tables. The cardinality defaults to many-to-many when it determines neither table contains unique values for the relationship columns. Also, whenever cardinality defaults to many-to-many, a warning message confirms if analyst wants to set a relationship and the change isn't the unintended effect of a data issue. In the example shown above, screenshot 1, there are many instances of each product key in the sales table. Each row contains sales transactions for the various products purchased by the customers. Screenshot 2, there are many instances of each product key in the sales data table tagged as star and also in product subcategory table again tagged as star, since there are multiple sales associated with multiple product which covers various subcategories. Question number 31. What are active and inactive relationships in Power BI? Active relationships propagate filters to other tables. Inactive relationships, however, only propagate filters when a DAX expression activates or uses the relationship. We will learn more about DAX in the upcoming sections. In Power BI, analysts can only create one active relationship between the same tables at the same time. But sometimes there occurs a need to create multiple relationships between the tables. Thus, analysts need to properly identify which relationships are active and which ones are inactive. In the example shown above, date column in the calendar table is connected to two fields, order date and stock date of AW sales data. There can be only one active relationship to the date field in the calendar table. An important note: first make the active relationship inactive. Only after that, the other inactive relationship can be made active. Moving on to the next chapter, chapter 5, which is one of the most important chapters. Here we look at questions 32 to 46 relating to DAX and its functions. Question number 32. What is DAX? The full form of DAX is Data Analysis Expressions. It is a programming language which is used throughout Power BI. It is a library of functions and operators that can be combined to build formulas and expressions in Power BI analysis services and Power Pivot in Excel data models. So in the example above, we are using a DAX function to calculate the total sales of the year for the retail client by passing the monthly sales amount. DAX is primarily used to create measures, that is the numeric and quantitative values that you can measure. For example, the aggregators like sum, average, min, max and so on. Calculated columns. This is adding new data to the table and DAX formula defines the value of this new column. For example, you can calculate profit of product by subtracting product's cost from selling price of the product. This is the new column in the table. Custom tables. The tables which are created from other tables thereby helps in creating more focused and business-oriented view of data. Question number 33. What is DAX measures in Power BI? Measures in Power BI are used for defining calculation. This is done using DAX language, that is Data Analysis Expression Language. It calculates each value of each row. Generally, measures are evaluated based on filter context, which means they recalculate when the fields or filters around them change, like when new row or column labels are pulled onto a matrix or whenever new filters are applied. In the example above, order quantity and return quantity are measures in territory table. These are the quantitative values which are calculated based on the operation or the filter applied by the analyst. Also, measure values are not visible within tables. They can only be seen in the visualization like a chart or matrix or a table. Question number 34. What is implicit DAX measures in Power BI? An implicit measure is an aggregating calculation like sum, count, that is automatically or implicitly calculated by Power BI. Implicit measures are created when an analyst drags raw numerical values like return quantity into the values pane of a visual and manually select aggregation mode like sum, average, min, max and so on. In the example shown above, there are many basic operations that could be applied by an analyst on return quantity. These are sum, average, minimum and so on, which are implicitly calculated within Power BI, like sum of the return quantity of items for a specific territory, minimum quantity returned from a particular territory, etc. Also, implicit measures are only accessible with specific visualization in which it was created and cannot be referenced elsewhere. Question number 35. What is explicit DAX measures in Power BI? An explicit measure is one which is created by an analyst by typing or selecting a formula in a cell in the calculation area. Let us take an example. Step 1. Select sales territory key and order quantity from the territory and sales tables respectively and form a table as a visualization. Step 2. Right-click on the sales table and select New Measure. Rename it as Quantity Sold and apply the formula as shown in the example. Step 3. Drag Quantity Sold along with Order Quantity in the table and it is observed that both these are equal. The major difference between implicit and explicit measures is that explicit measures can be used anywhere in the report and referenced within other DAX calculations to create measure trees, which is not the case with implicit measures in Power BI. That's what makes it more powerful and flexible. Hence, it is recommended to create explicit measures even for simple aggregations which can be done using implicit measures. Question number 36. What is DAX calculated columns in Power BI? Calculated columns allow you to add new formula-based columns to the tables. Let us look at an example. Step 1. Select the table where analyst wants to add the new column. Step 2. Right-click on table under Fields pane and select New Column. Rename it as Geography and apply the formula as shown in the example. If the continent column in the territories table is North America, then it will populate West, else value would be populated as others. Step 3. New column Geography is added to the table. Some other important points of calculated columns are: calculated columns refer to entire tables or columns. Calculated columns generate values for each row which is visible within tables in the data view. Calculated columns understand row context, row defining properties based on information in each row, and not useful in aggregation functions like sum, count, etc. Calculated columns are primarily used for filtering data rather than creating numerical values. For example, when new row or column labels are pulled into a matrix or whenever new filters are applied. Question number 37. What are DAX logical and conditional functions in Power BI? Logical and conditional functions act upon an expression to return information about the values or sets in the expression. First one, if function. Checks if a given condition is met and returns one value if the condition is true and another value if the condition is false. In the example, if the continent column in the territories table is North America, then it will return West, else others. Second one, if error function. Evaluates an expression and returns a specified value if the expression returns an error, otherwise expression itself. In the example, the output returns 5. Third one, AND function. Checks whether both the arguments are true and returns true if both arguments are true, otherwise returns false. In the example, it will return all true as all the conditions given are true. Fourth one, OR function. Checks whether one of the arguments is true and returns false if both arguments are false. In the example, if the day of the week column in AW calendar table is 6 or 7, then the output would be a weekend, else it would be a weekday. Question number 38. What are DAX text functions in Power BI? DAX text functions work with tables and columns. With DAX text functions, you can return a part of a string, search for a text within a string, or concatenate string values. Length function returns the number of characters in a string. In the example, the output would be the length of characters of product subcategory, like if the product subcategory is tables, then the output would be 6. Concatenate function joins two strings into one. In the example, the output would be hello world. Left, mid or right function returns the number of characters from the start, middle or end of the text string. In the example, the output would be the 3 characters of product subcategory from the left, like if the product subcategory is tables, then the output would be TAB. Upper, lower or proper function converts letters in a string to upper, lower or proper case. In the example, if the product subcategory is in lowercase table, then it will be transformed to uppercase table. Substitute function replaces an instance of existing text with a new text in a string. In the example, the expression ampersand, that is symbol, would be replaced by A and B, and like product subcategory tables ampersand chairs would be replaced by tables A and D chairs. Search function returns the position where a specified string or character is found, reading left to right. In the example, if the statement contains the word service, then the output would be 3 as the position of character R in service is 3. Question number 39. What are DAX math and stats function in Power BI? The mathematical and statistical functions in DAX are very similar to the Excel mathematical and trigonometric functions. Sum function evaluates the sum of the column. Here in the example, the output would be the sum of sales price column in the product table. Average function returns the average, that is the arithmetic mean of all the numbers in the column. In the example, the output would be the average of the amount column in the product table. Max function returns the largest value in a column or between two scalar expressions. In the example, the output would be the maximum sales in the sales column of orders table. Min function returns the smallest value in a column or between two scalar expressions. In the example, the output would be the minimum sales in the sales column of orders table. Divide function performs division and returns the alternate result or blank if division is by 0. In the example, the output would be the ratio of the tasks that are not completed, and here the not completed tasks are being divided by total tasks. Question number 40. What are DAX count functions in Power BI? The DAX count functions are used to count the total number of cells that contain value entities such as integer, whole number, string and character. Count function counts the number of cells in a column that contains numbers. Here in the example, the output would be the total number of sales IDs in the column. Like if the column has 10 sales IDs, then the output would be 10. This includes the blank cells as well. Count A function counts the number of non-empty cells in a column, both numerical and non-numerical. In the example, the output would be the total number of non-blank sales IDs in the column. Like if the column has 10 sales IDs and 2 of them are blank, then the output would be 8. Count blank function counts the number of blank cells in a column. In the example, the output would be the total number of blank sales IDs in the column. Like if the column has 10 sales IDs and 2 of them are blank, then the output would be 2. Count rows function counts the number of rows in the specified table or a table defined by an expression. In the example, the output would be the total number of rows in the table. Like if there are 100 rows in the sales table, then the output would be 100. Question number 41. What is related function in Power BI? Related function returns related values in each row of a table based on relationships with other tables. Related function retrieves the column that contains the value an analyst wants as per the business requirement. In the example above, analyst is trying to pull product price from the product table into the sales table as per the product key column. The new column added in the sales table is named as retail price. As there is just one product key captured in the sales table, which is 360, retail price is also same in all the rows, which is 2049.1. Question number 42. What is calculate function in Power BI? Calculate function evaluates a given expression or formula under a set of defined filters. Calculate function works as a base function to apply other DAX functions in different scenarios by an analyst as per the business requirement. In the example above, analyst wants to pull bulk orders from the sales table wherein the order quantity is more than 1 on the basis of measure total orders that has already been defined. The insight that could be derived from the last table is that there are no bulk orders for bikes categories, and this makes sense as well because no one purchases multiple bikes at one go. Question number 43. What are time intelligence functions in Power BI? Time intelligence functions allow analysts to easily calculate common time comparisons. Time intelligence functions enable analysts to manipulate data using time periods, including days, months, quarters, and years, and then build and compare calculations over those periods. For example, if the retailer wants to calculate the year till date YTD revenue generated, then the formula would be as shown in the slide. Similarly, previous period and running totals can be calculated using the formula shown in the slide. Question number 44. What are DAX iterator functions in Power BI? Iterator or X functions allows analysts to loop through same calculations or expressions on each row of a table and then apply some sort of aggregation to the result like sum, max, and so on. DAX iterator is like adding a temporary column at the end of the table, calculating each row based on the expression and then applying the aggregation to that new column. In the example shown above, total revenue measure is the new measure created using SumX iterator function, which is computed by looping through both the columns order quantity and retail price. Question number 45. What is DAX filter function in Power BI? Filter function returns a table that represents a subset of another table or an expression. Filter DAX function goes row by row and chops out any row which returns the filter expression as false, returns the rows where filter expression is true. It can handle more complex filter expressions that calculate by referencing measures, for example. Since filter returns an entire table, it is almost always used as an input to other functions like calculate and SumX. In the example above, high ticket orders wherein only the volume of products which are above the average retail price, which is $714.1, would be taken under filter condition so that category bikes is the only one that is generating sales for products priced above $714.1 and number of products is 11,312. Question number 46. What is all DAX function in Power BI? All function returns all rows in a table or all values in a column, ignoring any filters that have been applied. All function is primarily useful for cleaning filters and creating calculations on all the rows in a table. Simply put, it can remove any context that is coming from any filter or dimension that analyst has aligned to a formula. This is often used when an analyst wishes to view unfiltered values that won't react to changes in filter context, that is, all orders where denominator needs to remain fixed. In the example above, all is used as a part of calculate function. Analyst adds a measure to capture all the orders across all orders, which is grand total all the orders. Now, all orders is showing the overall orders, the same number in all the rows, which itself is not very useful information. But if an analyst decides to calculate percentage total orders, then it shows the share of each category in each row. We have reached the last chapter. Let us look at the questions relating to data visualization. Question number 47. What is report view in Power BI? Power BI desktop includes a report view where analysts can create any number of report pages with visualizations. The components of the report view are as shown in the slide. View option. This option covers layouts, lines, bookmarks, selection pane, etc. Visualization option. This option covers charts, slicers, maps, matrices, etc. Field list. This option covers tables, columns, and measures. Filters pane. This covers visual level, page level, report level, and drill through filters. Question number 48. What are types of visualizations in Power BI? Visualization is a graphical representation of data. We can use visualizations to create reports and dashboards. The kinds of visualizations available in Power BI are bar charts, column charts, line chart, area chart, stacked area chart, ribbon chart, waterfall chart, scatter chart, pie chart, donut chart, tree map, funnel chart, got chart, cards, KPI, slicer, table, matrix, R script visual, Python visual, etc. Bar chart. In the example shown above, the category name is on y-axis and the order quantity is on x-axis, and this clearly indicates that the order quantity is that of accessories. Pie chart. This chart also shows the share of order quantities across categories. The different colors in the chart represent different categories. The highest share is that of accessories. Data table. This data table shows the total orders, weekend orders, percentage of all the orders across categories. Question number 49. What is conditional formatting with respect to reports? Conditional formatting is a rules which will automatically apply a format to a range of cells in a table. With conditional formatting for tables, charts and matrices in Power BI, analysts can specify customized cell colors, including color gradients based on field values. Let us look at an example. Step 1. Select the table where analyst wants to add the conditional formatting. Step 2. Under Format, Data Colors of the bar chart, click on Effects, the function. Step 3. Set the colors for the lowest and highest values in the chart on the basis of some data field as per the business requirement. Step 4. The final chart with conditional formatting would appear on the basis of the steps followed above. Question number 50. What are various report formatting options available in Power BI? The Report Formatting tab displays all the formatting elements available for the selected visual. Line and column chart. There are multiple formatting like setting up colors for both X and Y axis, putting legends, etc. Pie chart. In this type of visualization, the different data colors can be set for different product categories along with the desired settings for background, tile, etc. as per the business requirements from the clients. Did you enjoy this video? If so, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel right now. Please don't forget to hit on the bell icon so that you will be notified when we release new videos. Thank you.